Hello and welcome. This is Chrisanne. I'm coming at you from Elemental Energies with Chrisanne. Today we are still participating in the hashtag ABC April 2025 challenge. Today is letter J, and we are going to be doing journaling jewelry. Not as many J's in this one. I'm reducing my J's. But here's the thing. We're going to be doing journaling jewelry with no special tools. So most of us have bulb pins. Most of us have beads. Most of us have wire. Okay? We're not going to be using jewelry tools. I'm going to be showing you other ways to make this journaling jewelry. You can make it regular jewelry too. You can put a ear wire on it if you want and wear it as an earring or wear it as a pendant. I mean, that's perfectly fine. In this case, for this video, I'm showing you journaling jewelry. Now, the hashtag ABC April 2025 is a challenge that's put forth by Margaret of Seven Plaza and Tony from Crafty by Tony. So you may have seen a whole bunch of people doing that hashtag and tagging everybody and all of that. That's what it's all about. So check those two YouTube channels out. They're excellent. They're fantastic. And see all the fun stuff that they do. So I'm participating in that challenge. Anybody can do it. You just have to post that day, that letter. Check out their two pages because there's a list of what letters coordinate with what days, and they offer journaling prompts or creative prompts to do in coordination with that letter. Sometimes I take their prompts and sometimes I do my own thing. Most of the time I do my own thing. So today we're doing journaling jewelry, J's. So that's a brief explanation of why the J and all that fun stuff. So let's get down to making these. I am using super cheap, inexpensive wire that I got on Temu well over a year ago. It is super, super, super thin. It's 0.4 millimeters. I know US, they have a different way to categorize them, but it's 0.4 millimeters. It's super, super, super thin. I got this in a 3-pack for under $1. I mean, it was super cheap. So in this case, we're going to be using the gold. You can see how thin it actually is. It's incredibly thin. Here, let me hold it up next to some jewelry so you can see it's super, super, super thin. If you want to do this with thicker wire, that is fine, but you probably will need tools. It won't be as easy to manipulate. Most of this wire has a copper core to the wire. Irregardless of what the outside color is, in this case, it's yellow gold. I do have copper and silver colors here. The core of all of these is copper. That's what makes it easier to bend and more malleable and manipulative kind of thing. So that is why we don't need special tools, because I'm using very thin wire with a copper core. Most wire out there has a copper core. So thin wire, copper core. Those are what you need to look for. If you're going to go to Temu, just look for their cheap jewelry wire. Super, 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 super thin. This is 0.4 millimeters, according to what they sell on Temu. Okay, the other supplies, we are using some glass beads that I got on Temu. I rarely use plastic. I'm either using semi-precious, stones that are crystals, glass, or metal. I very, very, very rarely use plastic. It's not my thing. I simply have a pair of scissors. These are sort of smaller at the end. And then I have the wire, and I have a bone folder. I'm going to show you how we're going to use that later. Oh, I have the bulb pins, which I already talked about. And then we're going to be wrapping our wire on something. Because we're not using tools, we need to wrap our wire on something. I have a couple ideas. So I have a chopstick and I have a paintbrush. These are thin. If I were to come in and use a marker, here's the difference. The thickness of the handle or the wooden dowel or the pencil or the pen or whatever it is, the thickness of whatever it is you're using equates to how big this loop is. This was made on a chopstick. So it's that size. That's the determining factor. And that is still a fairly large loop. I mean, you can see it right there. It's still fairly large. Chopstick, I don't think is super thick, but you definitely don't want to use something like a marker. I mean, this isn't a Sharpie. It's the Hobby Lobby Paper Studios brush tip marker, but it's equivalent to the size of a Sharpie, is my point. And you see the difference in the diameter? You need something with a smaller diameter. This paintbrush is the one I'm going to use next. It's even a smaller diameter than the chopstick. So let me put that away. So keep that in mind. It's okay to play. If you want to play, if you have a pencil, that's fine. If you can't find anything, go out in the yard and look for a stick. Okay? It is a free way to get like a dowel kind of thing. Just if it's wet, let it dry a little bit. Maybe get a couple because, if it's thin, it's going to break. But, it's a great way to start. So we're going to take a piece of wire. Now, how I do this is a little maybe backwards compared to what somebody else does. In my mind, I'm thinking about this size of wire. I am not cutting this off the spool yet. I take my paintbrush, my chopstick, my whatever, while it's on the spool. I hold this here. Now, I don't need that much wire at the end. And it's probably easier just to see it like that. I don't need that much wire. That's approximately an inch, more than sufficient. I bend it over my paintbrush. I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. Bend it over my paintbrush. I'm holding both ends. The long end still attached to the wire holder here, and then the little itty bitty bit. I'm holding both of those. I take my dowel, my paintbrush, my twig, and I twist while I hold the wire. I have now twisted it on itself. Do not over twist with thin wire because you'll snap it. Now you can see by spinning it like that, it twisted down the length of the wire that I'm going to be using to string my beads on. It twisted down, okay? The reason that's okay is because I'm going to be putting my beads over it. So this is one way that I'm showing you. Now, this is still on my spool. I need to put beads on this. So let me calculate, depending on how many beads you're going to do. This is more than generous. This is much more than what I need. That's more than 4 inches. Let me give you an exact. Yeah, it's like 6.5 inches. Much more than what I need. But I'm just trying to show you. So we are doing this one, how I twisted it right down the stem, so to speak, by holding it and twisting while it's on my pencil or chopstick or whatever. That's how I got that. Now, let's decide. Do you want something as long and decorative as that in your journal. I like dangly bits in my journal, and I like things to dangle out the side or the top or the bottom, but mostly the side of my journal. So let's pick some colors. I did this in pink. I never use pinks. Pink is not my thing, but I figured, you know what? I have pinks. Let me use them. So let's do some sort of reds with champagne kind of color. I'm trying to match things up here. See what I have that matches. Let's do some little reds. Okay. There's my 5 beads. You do what works for you. Do you need 5 beads? No. So when I put my beads on, in this case, because of how I did that twist thing, I know the hole in these beads is big enough to fit over that twisted wire. But because my loop at the end is big enough, my beads aren't going to fall off. If you don't have head pins and eye pins, which are the professional ones that people use to make jewelry, you're making this instead. Remember, no special tools. So let's keep stringing these on. The trick is to have the end be bigger than the hole of your last bead. The end is bigger than the hole of my last bead. So that's how it stays on. Now, you don't have to use glass beads. If you have plastic and you want to use plastic, do what makes you happy. Use what you have. You know, when you're crafting, it's all about using your supplies that you have. I'm just going to cover this because I don't want to spill it. So that's what we have thus far. All of these beads are covering that twist. I knew the hole in these beads was big enough to cover that because this is super thin wire. So now let's take the paintbrush, the paintbrush handle again. I am not coming right up against, see, I'm not coming right up against the beads. I'm coming just a hair up, a smidge up. Folding that over. It shifted a little bit. Hold on. There we go. Okay, folding that over. Pulling this to the back. See, I kind of did like a loop around. Loop around. Now I'm going to hold it. And I'm going to spin it. Just like we did in the beginning. There. It's nice and tight. Let me put that up there. It does look a little different than this one. And I'm going to show you how to do this once again. But remember, we have no tools, no special tools for this. Normally, I would come in with my wire cutters and my flush wire cutters, and I would come in and I would trim that right there. I don't have special tools in this imaginary world. I have scissors. Or, you know what else you can use? Make sure it's clean. Is toenail clippers or fingernail clippers, or make sure they're either new or very clean. Okay. But that is something that way back when people used to use. Now I am holding my scissors as close to that twist on this side as I possibly can, without cutting through this loop. And it's tricky to see. There you go. You can see that. There we go. Gave that a little clip. Now, sometimes there's little sticky out bits. I wish this would I wish that would focus better. Sometimes there's a little sticky out bit. What you can do is take your bone folder and come in, and you're working in the direction that the twist is going, okay? And you can just come in and push it down, going in that direction. Now, if you have a hard time with small fiddly things, get wire cutters. Get real wire cutters. There. This will poke your finger if you're not careful. So either wear those little things that you put over your finger when you're doing the glue gun. They sell them at the Dollar Tree. They're like the pink finger protectors. You can do that. This is a teeny bit sticky out, but really not. And if you have fingernails, you can come in and just do it with your fingernail. Or you can come in with your chopstick and press it down. Whatever. Press it down. I like both of these loops to go in the same direction. So I just hold both of them and give them a twist. Can you see it better there? Probably can. Then what I do is I come in with whatever my choice of bulb pin. I mean, I made it a little more difficult than it needs to be, but super simple. Some people hang them like that. I mean, you can make earrings this way too. Super, super, super simple. But I wanted to show you the way that you can make them if you don't have any fancy dancy tools. I don't think that one. Well, let's try this one. See if, I don't know if it's quite wide enough. I want to show you, let's see, we just did this one at the bottom where we twisted the wire right down the stem of the wire. The next one that I want to show you is how we ended it, where we keep the loops kind of up near the top. So for this one, I have approximately 1 inch hanging off the edge up here, folding, and I'm only using this and not on the spool because it's a leftover piece. Folding this over, what I'm going to do is I am holding my finger here. Now, I have hand problems. I have carpal tunnel in both, plus overuse repetitive motion injury. Trust me, I got hand problems. I have nerve damage. I have the bit, the whole damn bit. So if I can do it, you can figure it out too. If you can't hold it here, put a piece of tape, put a piece of masking tape right here to hold it. What you're going to do while I'm holding this on my paintbrush, chopstick, stick, whatever, take the little end, that inch, and you're going to twist it around. And I'm keeping it only near the top. I'm not twisting it down this way. I'm twisting it only here, sort of in place, so to speak. Now, is this one going to be pretty and beautiful like it is when I have tools? Well, maybe for you it is. For me, in all honesty, it's not. And then I am going to kind of, but it's not pretty. It's somewhat pretty, but it's not 100% pretty. My beads are probably going to cover it anyways. Let's grab a couple beads. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll do those 3. Do I like it like that? Oh, I like it like that better. Okay. Decisions in life. So pretty much covers the end little bit. of that wire I just twisted. I hope you can see that. I'm not doing a lot of a lot of beads on this wire. We'll just do 3. I don't need a ton. This is just a little dangling bit, or as G likes to say, dingle dangles. My son cracks up when she does that. I digress. If you watch, check out G. She's really good too. Okay. So once again, we have our paintbrush. I have my finger that I'm going to be holding this down with. If you have this finger that's stronger than this finger, use what works for you. I have figured out how to use my hands my way to do my art my way. Do they always work? No. Sometimes you can't tell the difference, frankly. Now, I am leaving a hair of a space between this last bead and the paintbrush, which is what I'm looping on. Bring this down. See, I have a lot. I have a lot left over here. I've probably, I don't know, what is that? 2+ inches. Holding right here. Grabbing the end of the wire, the loose end of the wire. And I'm wrapping it. You don't want to over wrap it because you can snap it. I mean, sometimes people like to snap it. Let me show you that trick. So if I'm holding the loop, I can't always do this, but people just simply bend it back and forth in place. When I don't want to do it, this happens, but when I want to do it, it doesn't happen. I don't always know exactly how they do it. I frankly try not to snap my wire, but there is a way. You're supposed to just like work the wire and it will snap. I don't know. It's not doing it for me. Whatever. You watch. Another time I don't want it to do it and it will. I'm going to back it up just a hair. I'm going to come in with my scissors. Let me move this out of place a little bit. I try and hold that end so it doesn't go flying. I mean, I highly recommend wire cutters. But there. But if you don't have wire cutters, and then you can kind of either tuck that little end in to the bead. You can take your bone folder. I took a sterling silver jewelry class many, many, many eons ago. My mom and I went and did like an adult ed class. And the teacher didn't have enough bone folders to go around. She had a paintbrush. I mean, no, she had a toothbrush that she was using for another part of the jewelry work. I grabbed the toothbrush and I started using it like a bone folder, the handle of a toothbrush. Be creative with what you, it worked perfectly fine. It worked great. So there's our other little bit. This is simple. This is super, super, super simple. Let's see, which one should I do? I'll do a yellow bulb pin. Now, the next one I want to show you is how to add a charm if you don't have any, well, I mean, I have them, but we're going to pretend I don't have them. Any of the rings or anything. You know, if you don't have, I mean, you can make rings with wire. This wire is too thin to make them, so I'm not going to show you how to do it with that, because this is going to be like a no frills kind of video. But a lot of us have charms, or maybe you make charms. I want to show you how we're going to add that. Because I'm using gold wire, I'm going to grab a gold charm. I don't know which one I'm going to grab. We'll grab the money one. Let me just close this so I don't make a mess with that. Okay. Now, I'm going to leave this wire on the spool, and I'm going to show you how I add a charm with no special jump rings or anything like that. You can make jump rings, like I said, with wire, but not this wire. It's too thin. Let me get my paintbrush. Approximately an inch is my excess. I'm going to bend that over, giving it a tinge of a pinch, which is a little bit different than what we did in the last one. Tinge of a pinch. Okay. Take my paintbrush off. You can see we have that loop there with that little pinch. I'm going to now take my charm, loop it on to my wire, put my paintbrush back there, keeping my charm at the end of the loop. Okay. Now I'm holding my wire on the paintbrush and I'm holding my charm on the paintbrush. Okay. Taking this extra piece, I'm going to loop this around. I'm doing the same one that we just did, that same loop technique. And then, you know what? I think I am just going to let it kind of come down. That way I don't have to cut it. But see? The charm's attached. Let me cut a piece. It's much bigger than what I need, but that's okay. Let's get some beads. We're just gonna do a whole bunch of kind of different. I'm not gonna do anything sort of symmetrical this time. It's the same. Decisions in life here. Did I already have that one? I don't like the pink. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah, we got 5. We're just going to stay with that. All right. I'm going to do this. Now, I'm tucking that end in. That extra bit here. I'm tucking it into the beads. If it's longer than what my beads are going to be stacked, this is a good time to come in and do a trim. Actually, let's do this one. Seeing the hole in the bead is the hardest part. There we go. Now that didn't go over both of the wires. So I need to make sure both wires, there we go. Now they're both on. Now, ideally, this charm would look better if it was on a jump ring looped onto this. It would have a different dangle value, but that dangle's pretty darn good, I think. Now, there's a little bit of wire that's sticking out from before. I don't want that there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to trim it, but I'm going to hold it when I trim it because it will go flying and I don't want it to fly into my eyes. Oh, I didn't talk about safety gear. So you do need to wear some sort of glasses when you're doing work with wire, whether it be safety glasses. I'm wearing glasses right now. These aren't technically safety glasses, but the lenses are quite large. And sometimes I wear like these that are huge lenses. I have a couple of those, and I have those for doing stuff like this, really big lenses. So you want to make sure you're protected. If you have pets around, please don't let those little bits go flying. That's why I hold on to them, and I do try and dispose of them carefully because I don't want that to get stepped on or something. I mean, that little teeny tiny piece can be a royal pain in the butt if you step on it and it gets in your foot. Trust me. I have done that too. So let's come back with our paintbrush. We're going to hold it just above the last bead. I'm pulling all my beads down, making sure they're nice and snug into how I want them. I'm leaving a hair of a space between the bead and the paintbrush, folding this over, coming around. I'm giving it a really good wrap. And then I can just do like one more wrap. I do straighten out my loop and see if there's a space. When I'm doing my loops, I try and start at the top and loop my way down. Loop, 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 loop. Start looping here, loop down. So I finish snug against this last bead. That, for me, has worked. I know it's really tricky to see this. I hope you can see it. Okay. Let's come in and we're going to give this a trim. I can bend this back a little bit. Come in with my bone folder. I'm just pushing it around in the same direction that I was going with my loops. I'm pushing my bone folder with the end of the wire. And if I need to come in with my fingernail and give it an extra little push, the deal is I don't want it picky. I don't want it sticking out. Not too bad. Okay. Let me straighten all this up. I'm going to come in with another yellow one. So that's the jewelry. It's, I think, fairly simple, fairly easy to make some pretty easy but really pretty additions to your journal. I mean, I think any little dangling bit in a journal is fun. So I hope that encourages you to get your beads, get some wire, work with what you have. Most of us have these basic tools within our toolbox. If all you have is floral wire, which is very different than jewelry wire, floral wire, you can still do this with it. You know, it's a junk journal. Use what you have. Have fun with it. Play. Get some color going. Get some dangly bits going in your journal. Please subscribe to my channel. I would thoroughly appreciate it. Check out my website. You can see a pre-order going on for my Oracle deck that I have created, I've illustrated and authored. It's like a tarot deck, but it's Oracle. It's a 78 card deck that has all the writing on the cards, so it's super easy to use. Check that out. It's on my website, elementalenерgieswithchrisanne.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care. Be free.